Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. My name is Baharudin bin Bashar, and my partner is Wani binti Zofri and Wani binti Shuhri. We're from group number 2. The topic is demand and supply. For this subject is a macroeconomic SCO 162, lead by Madam Nabila binti Ahmed. Today I would like to present about the topic, and the topic is have a three part, part A, part B and part C. I want to present for my part is a part A. For the part A, we got a question. The question is a key skill in economy in the ability to use the theory of demand and supply to analyze the specific market. In the assignment, you get a chance to demonstrate your ability to analyze the effect of server shock the market for coffee. Answer all parts of each of the scenario below. For the scenario number 1, the question suppose that as a part of international trade agreement, the Malaysian government reduced the tariff on imported coffee. Will this affect the supply or demand for coffee? Why? Which determine of demand or supply is being affected? The answer is, if the Malaysian government reduced the tariff on imported coffee, it would increase the supply. Reducing the tariff will increase supply due to the price of importing a good dropping. Besides that, have the price of imported drop creates the freedom for producer to use some feeding to expand their supply. This funding could be directed toward production of the coffee, new roast, flavor, sizzling increase, and so many options. Furthermore, the determine of supply being affected in a cost of importation, which in turn decrease cost of production. For the graphic, we can see the world affect the equilibrium price while decreasing the price. As you can see, the world affect the equilibrium price while decreasing the price as a result of highest quantity of coffee. The reason for this is because will the supply of coffee increase as well variety the demand did not. If the companies charge more for the increased supply, it will decrease quantity demand, leaving a surplus of coffee. The scenario number 2, I go through the answer. If the MOH in Malaysia published a study feeding that coffee drinking reduce the probability of getting colon cancer, I think it will affect the market for coffee by increasing the demand for coffee. It is because many people will have the demand to buy the coffee. This demand happen because the people will buy coffee. As stated by MOH in Malaysia published a study feeding that coffee can reduce the probability of getting colon cancer. So the people will try drink our coffee. The demand for coffee will be increased, will stay running on the same supply, which determine the cost. The graphic is the determine of demand effect. Third is the number of consumer. Many consumer will buy the coffee. It mean decreasing the risk of cancer. The change in demand for coffee will affect the equilibrium price by increasing the price of coffee. The quantity of coffee will remain the same as a supply of coffee to be sold did not change. The reason for this While the demand for coffee increased, the supply did not. If they charge less, they would not be able to keep up with the demand. Thus, the equilibrium price must change in order to keep steady with the change in demand. If the equilibrium price did not change, there would be a shortage of coffee because of how high in demand coffee would be. Scenario number 3. The answer for the scenario number 3. If the Malaysian government lowered the rate of coffee import and study on coffee drinking could lower the percentage of colon cancer suffer, then the market will reach an equilibrium. The quantity of coffee supplied and requested which reach the point of intersection where the equilibrium price will be found. As a result, the combination will create a balance of price that both consumer and manufacturer will agree on. There will also cause a balance in the quantity where supply and demand can be specified for the both sides. Besides, the reason for this is the manufacturers are able to produce the product at lower price due to lower tariff, so they can increase supply of coffee. The increase in supply will benefit consumer as there is an increase in coffee demand due to the study. Rather than not having enough, the coffee market could keep up with the increase in demand. This would be feeding the market. That's all for my part presented by me, and another part I will give to my friend Shazwani. Thank you, madam.
I'm Shazwani Bentizo Kapli. I want to proceed to the next part, which is a part B. Tell about situation in a post, thinking of a relevant example in your life of how a change in the market has shifted either the supply or demand of a good, and find a relative new article to support your finding. Search Google, future in Google is helpful. Yeah. Okay. In this chapter, demand and supply have one of the example that change in the market is face masks. In years ago, the face mask price was low. Also, demand was very low too. This is because the function face mask is to avoid disease infection. Only who are sick will wear the face mask. When the transmission of COVID-19, majority of people are panicked with the pandemic of this coronavirus issues. In the addition, Chief Health Director encouraging people to wear face masks when they are public place to avoid infections of the disease. This disease include fever, cold and more. It is make the demand of the face mask increase and the supply also increase. Furthermore, the price of the mask increase. The government are taking actions towards the pharmacy in online shopping that they increase the price higher than equilibrium price. Under this situation, the suppliers were really under stress because they need to supply high amount of masks, but they also need to decrease of number of workers. There are also people who are taking advantage with selling dirty masks in through the online platform. This is because majority people in Malaysia need to wear a face mask, especially frontliners who are working in the hospital to fight this COVID-19 situations. The demand curve shift to the right, and the price is also increased from 18 cents to 1 ringgit 15 cents. Okay. Next equilibrium for face mask is at her price and higher quantity. Okay. The article shows that 88% of Malaysians wear masks during this pandemic to avoid the infections. During the coronavirus outbreak, Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah suggests wearing masks if you are going outside. Luckily, Malaysians were obedient, and they will wear masks when they are going outside. Start from 22 February. People who wears masks in the public until 8 June 2020. Thank you. That's all from me. Thank you.
Levy explain measures to control the price of property that could be implemented by the government. National and local government sometimes implement price control like a minimum or maximum price for a specific good or service to attempt managing the economy by direct intervention. Price control can be price ceiling or price floor. A price ceiling is a legal maximum price for a good or service, while a price floor is a legal minimum price. Also, both a price ceiling and a price floor can be imposed. The government will usually only select either a ceiling or a floor for particular good or service. When prices are stabilized by a free market, then there is a balance between supply and demand. The quantity supply at the market price equal the quantity demand at the price. So the government imposition of price control causes either excess supply or excess demand. Since the legal price often differ greatly from the market price. Indeed, the government imposed price control to solve a problem perceived to be created by the market price. For instance, rent control is imposed to make a rent more affordable for tenants. This of course lead to no problem such as a decline in the demand for new housing, but government often do not account for the future. Because politicians in the term, they more apt to solve current problem and not worry so much about future problem. As they say, politicians like to kick the can down the road, leading to future problem. But prevent future problem does not help politicians get re-elected. These price control are political expediency to solve current social problem that will garner support, at least temporarily, for managing the problem. Even though price control are often there detrimental to the economy in the long term.